In the vein of 2018's Halloween and last year's Candyman, the Scream franchise has returned with a new installment simply titled Scream. Don't be fooled, however, as this latest outing is the 5th film in the series, and yes, the film does poke fun at this recent trend. The latest Scream film tells a familiar story. The town of Woodsboro is once again being terrorized by a killer or killers dressed in the infamous Ghostface costume. However, this time around, the film centers on a new final girl, Sam Carpenter, played by Melissa Barrera, whose friends and loved ones are slowly starting to be picked off one by one, with all of it having some connection to her dark past. A dark past that also brings about the return of the iconic trio of Sidney Prescott, Gale Weathers, and the now retired sheriff, Dewey Riley. Going into this latest installment, I was worried that the returning players would either take up too much of the spotlight or just be there for fan service. Thankfully, however, the film uses the OG cast just the right amount, with a special shout out to David Arquette, who really gets to shine as a far more fleshed out and developed Dewey. The new cast here also really gets to shine. Melissa Barrera especially really becomes her own kind of final girl, and she more than deserves to be standing alongside the returning Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox. Her sister, played by Jenna Ortega, also has some great scenes to work off of Barrera. There's also some familiar faces like Dylan Minnette as Wes, a character named in tribute of late director Wes Craven, and Jasmine Savoy Brown as the nephew of Randy Meeks from the first 2 Screams. And of course, Roger L. Jackson crushes it as always with a sinister voice performance as Ghostface.
Would you like to play a game, Tara?
The film isn't perfect by any means. Most of the jump scares fall pretty flat, and even though the Scream franchise is known for their meta-commentary, sometimes the dialogue and commentary of toxic fandoms can be way too on the nose. Speaking of which, this film probably has the weakest Ghostface killers out of the entire series. However, despite these flaws, Scream 5 or Scream still stands as the second best in the franchise next to the original, and it also stands as a loving tribute to director Wes Craven's work. If you want to read the full review of Scream, you can head on over to sutvnews.org, but for SUTV Entertainment, I'm Adam Beam.